it is a very sad development. We need federalism, true federalism. We need a strong union government, effective union government. We need strong states, effective states. But we cannot have a clash between the two. We cannot have confrontation between the two. That means our federal system simply is not working the way it should. If you look at the current standoff between West Bengal and the Union of India, it is about the role of CBI in investigations. The state's contention appears to be that Government of India cannot investigate in their state anything without their consent, because the policing and crime investigation are entirely entrusted to the states under the Constitution. And the CBI has been created in 1941 as Special Police Establishment by government order. Then in 1946, a law was enacted called Delhi Special Police Establishment Act, DSPE Act. That is still the act with some amendments that is operational for CBI even today. Then in 1963, by government resolution, the DSPE has been called popularly as the Central Bureau of Investigation, CBI. But essentially, CBI was created to investigate corruption offences against Government of India officials. And subsequently, certain offences that the state voluntarily transferred to the Government of India because of their national importance or their required sophisticated investigation, only those offences are handled by the CBI in addition to corruption offences. Legally, the CBI has no independent jurisdiction, except to the extent that the cases are transferred in that manner with the state's consent. And that is the cause of all this problem. On the one hand, there are serious allegations, and with some credible evidence, that the government and the party in power in Delhi, they are misusing their power over CBI to harass the states at will, totally due to partisan considerations, not to uphold the rule of law. And there is a lot of evidence to show that the governments in Delhi have been acting irresponsibly in a partisan manner as a political tool, undermining the credibility of the CBI and undermining the rule of law. Equally, states are using this argument to prevent CBI from discharging its duties. And it is absurd that in a large federal country like India, rule of law is compromised by partisan politics on the part of the state or the union. Both are wrong. Let's look at other civilized federal countries with a long history and successful history. Let's take United States, Canada, Australia, Germany. These four are strong, robust, democratic federal countries. If we take the United States, the Constitution gives the role of federal crimes to the federal government. There are state offences which are under the state police. That means the crimes themselves are defined as federal or state level offences. The crimes with interstate ramifications, financial frauds, racketeering, terrorism, abduction, and such kind are defined as federal offences. Automatically, the federal investigative agencies, there are several agencies, the most notable of which is the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI. But there are also about firearms, alcohol, firearms, tobacco, etc. There is a wing, then there is a customs wing, there is an internal revenue service, there is a secret service. All these are federal forces, and they have jurisdiction automatically in respect of offences which are classified as federal offences. Where the offence is a state offence, automatically the state police, they come in. Sometimes an individual may be charged with both offences, the federal and the state. Then both act in coordination and cooperation. The system is working reasonably well. Similarly, in Canada, though the laws are federal laws, there are no state laws in relation to crime. Almost all serious laws of crime investigation are federal laws in Canada. Nevertheless, at the state level, the state attorney generals, under their jurisdiction, the police agency, Royal Mounted Canadian Police, it functions. There is no scope for clash between the union and the state. If you take Germany, it's a bit like American system. Largely, the investigation is a state affair, but there is a clear jurisdiction for the federal government, and wherever the issue impinges on that by law, the federal government automatically has jurisdiction and it controls the investigative process. And there are federal investigative agencies just like in the United States. Similarly is the case in Australia. India needs to get into a system where we have a class of offences defined as federal offences. If you have terrorist offence, it is absurd to treat that as a state level offence. India is one of the most important victims of terrorism over the past 20 or 30 years in the world. We cannot afford to be careless or anything less than vigilant in dealing with terrorism. And if we allow the partisan considerations between the Union and the states to affect crime investigation in terms of terrorism, our national security is compromised. Similarly, offences relating to, let's say, currency, serious financial fraud, abduction and murder with interstate ramifications, and some other such offences, organized crime for instance. If such crimes are classified as federal offences, under the jurisdiction of the CBI or other federal investigative agencies is automatic in those cases, then this kind of a partisan clash between the Union and the state will be avoided. At the same time, the bulk of the crime investigation should remain with the states as it is today, but there cannot be a clash or confrontation. Both the federal agencies and the state agencies, they have to work in coordination and in cooperation. Unity is not uniformity. That is the principle of federalism. At the same time, federalism is not confrontation. It has to be cooperation in the larger interest of the public. There are issues that has to be investigated at the national level. There are issues that should be investigated at the local level, at the state level. We should not be confused between the two. We in Lok Satta and FDR stand strongly for a true federal republic. We believe that uniformity does not strengthen unity. Unity of India is strengthened if we recognize the diversity and if we protect the states' rights, and the states are allowed to experiment, to improve, and the best practices are replicated in other states. But at the same time, there must be a strong rule of law framework, and federal government must have a role in dealing with serious offences which have impact nationally or which are connected in some manner or other with the financial security or the national security of the country.